rescued Madison in November of 2015, so we've had her for almost 3 years. I would definitely rescue another dog. Madison has been amazing. It was tough when we first got her. It was a little bit of an adjustment having a dog because she had anxiety and some other issues from her earlier life, but she's the most loving and kind dog. I would definitely rescue another dog in the future. I always, in my head, wanted a big, fluffy dog. So we had gone to the shelters a bunch of times looking for the perfect dog, and we found a few. And I love all dogs, but most of the ones we saw were small and short-haired and a little bit energetic, which was fine. But we met Madison, who is like 100 pounds, super fluffy, and just very chill and laid back and just like sleeping and snuggling and relaxing, which in my mind was like the perfect dog. So she like rested her head on us the first time we met her, and I just knew that she was the right dog for us. Madison is a really unique dog. I mean, I think she stands out just in the way she looks because she's huge. She often gets, a lot of attention when she's walking down the street. People think she looks like a polar bear. But on top of that, she's deaf. And we found out she was deaf before we rescued her. They told us that up front in case it would deter us from adopting her. But she, has been deaf from birth, apparently, that as far as the rescue knows. And it doesn't seem to slow her down at all. And we've learned to work with it, and it's actually had a lot of, pros and cons. Some of the cons are obviously that she doesn't always hear us, or doesn't hear us ever. So if, she's getting into something in the kitchen and we're in the other room, rather than being able to call her name, we have to get up and go see her and get her attention visually before we can stop her from doing something. Also, another con is we were really anxious about letting her loose on the beach or, in a yard without a fence because she's hard. You can't always get her attention. That was especially when we first got her. The pros are, I think because she's deaf, that she's very aware of her surroundings in other ways. She actually always checks back to make sure that we're still with her and looks to us for hand signals and things like that. She can understand how we're feeling or what we're thinking or saying more by what our faces look like and our body language. Another pro is if dogs are barking around us or on the street, she doesn't hear it, so she doesn't get involved. She's not really afraid of police sirens or fire engines or alarms or any other outside noises. She's just oblivious to it, which is kind of nice because she's not, barking all the time or anything like that. She actually had an amazing story when we first got her. We got her when she was about 3 years old. She had come from South Carolina, and we picked her up in Maine. Before we brought her home to Swampscott, we stopped at my parents' house so that they could meet her. And when we opened the car hatch, she jumped out and ran into the woods. And Madison is deaf, so we couldn't call her, and she didn't know where she was, and she had only known us for 20 minutes, and she was scared. And so we were trying to get her back from the woods, and she kept going further and further into the woods, and it was really hard to get back. And so we ended up losing her within 20 minutes of getting her. And we had this volunteer organization in Maine that helped us track her down. All the people in Kittery, Maine, which is where we were, all the neighbors were helping out, but it took a solid week to get her back. She was living in the woods for a week right after we got her, and I was panicked. But we kept getting phone calls that there were sightings of her, so we knew she was alive. But eventually, finally after a week, the main rescue organization that was helping us out had gotten enough sightings of her that they put a roast chicken in the woods and put a trap near it, and she walked into it and we got her back. So she had a very hectic first week, but then since then she's never left our side. Madison actually loves being outside and is at her happiest sometimes in the snow or the rain. She just will stay outside for hours. But we do find that she gets pretty scared during thunder and lightning storms. She really feels the thunder. She can't hear it booming, obviously, but she feels it when it shakes the house, and she gets nervous and kind of snuggles up to us when she's afraid. And she sees the lightning flashes in the sky. So she gets pretty scared during thunder and lightning storms, but all other weather, she's just happy as a clam. She does overheat in the summer, and we have to keep her in the air conditioning a lot because of her fur, but winter is her favorite. I know a lot of people that have dogs from breeders that really love them, and they have reputable breeders who take good care of them. But I do think rescue dogs are an amazing option just because they're dogs that don't have a home and need one. So I think if at all possible, people should try to get rescue dogs, but I don't judge people who don't either.